So this was a pretty common issue in most NES systems. I try to be pretty thorough. A little bit of an OCD with this stuff. So. Here we're looking at the NES-001 Nintendo Entertainment System. In this video I'm going to cover disassembly of the NES. We are going to go over refurbishing the exterior as well as the controls and the interior 72-pin connector. We are finally going to cover reassembly of the NES. Let's get into initial testing and show you what's going on with this. Load in one of our favorite games and we just get a blinking light. We don't get any video except for flashing color screens. So this was a pretty common issue in most NES systems. At this point people probably tossed them out. And you can pretty much troubleshoot a 72-pin problem just by jiggling the card around a little bit, and you can eventually get it to start. Now if I press the reset button, it'll play like this no problem. But like I said, we're gonna go through the entire refurbish here and see if we can't get this to work every time, first time. Alright, so for disassembly of your NES, it's pretty simple. You don't need a lot of tools. There are 6 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that you'll need to remove with your Phillips head screwdriver. I've already gone ahead and removed the screws on this system, so let's open her up. And there we are, the NES. Now if we take a look at the interior, we can see it's pretty dirty. There's some cobwebs all throughout here. Some, I don't know what that is there, peanut butter or something. There's all of this gunk all around the interior plastics. There's a fair amount of dust in the system as well. Doesn't appear to be too bad though. I've definitely seen worse. First things first, I usually take the plastic part, the exterior case, and I bring it over to the sink. I usually do this first just because allows time to dry when I start working on the pin connector. It's like you're washing a dish. To get a little bit of the extra gunk off is pretty much any oxygen boosting cleanser, cleaner. Put a little bit of it on there. So just get it on. After I clean it in the sink, I do take a magic eraser to it, and if there's any scuffs that didn't come out with the oxygen cleanser, I'll go ahead and get them with the magic eraser. But usually the oxygen cleanser does a pretty good job, like I said, removing any yellowing, oxidation, or scuffs, dirt, grime, all that. I try to be pretty thorough. A little bit of an OCD with this stuff. Better already. I don't know if you can see that, but there's still some gunk in between there. Yeah, you can barely see it. And just with a toothbrush, I like to get in here. Now let's jump back over here. Now we are going to get into the process of removing the heat shield and removing the main board. So we have 7 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws on the heat shield, and we have an additional 1, 2 screws that are holding in the modulator, and then we have another 6 screws holding in the cart connector. And once we get all that apart, then we'll be able to officially clean everything. Two long screws to the side. And to remove the cart connector, you just lift up, sort of jiggle it out. It'll just slide right out. And now we're going to remove the controller ports so that we can get the main board out. So you're going to remove this and this here. Just very gently jiggle them out. Alright. Oh yeah, we also gotta remove the power. Alright, now we have our main board. And we have our dirty bottom part. Now, just because I don't want to remove all the rest of this stuff, I'm just going to give this a quick wipe down, blow all the dust out, and clean the rest of the board. Alright, so let's move this out of the way. And let's put our main board in front of us. Now, besides being a little bit dusty, there doesn't appear to be any real damage to the board. Remove the bottom shield. And yeah, this is... oh, there's a fair amount of dust on that transistor there. Not a big deal. Alright, so let's go about removing our 72 pin. You just take your 2 thumbs on either side of these and just give it a quick, gentle nudging. You'll slide it out. Now, the issue we have with the 72 pin is that the pins get worn down over time. So what we're going to do first is first clean the 72 pin just with some alcohol and a toothbrush, and then we're going to get in and try to lift each one of these pins. You can use a paper clip. I found a tiny hook tool set at Harbor Freight for $1, and so I'm going to be using that. Dunk our toothbrush and just give it a good brushing. I like to do both sides, the bottom side as well as the top side where the games connect, just to make sure. I don't really know actually, just to clean it, just to make sure everything's clean. Now that it's wet, I'll just grab a little cloth and the 72 pin connector. Let's see if I can't show you how we do the refurb. Alright, so we're going to start with this pin here, and this is the little hook tool that I got from Harbor Freight. So we're just going to go just to the inside. And we're going to lift on the pin until it sticks up just like that. And you can see that pin is notably higher than the other ones. So we're just going to continue in that fashion. Alright, here you can see the progress I've made. Just lifting the pins. Half is done, and I still have half to go. But hopefully you can see the difference in the height between the raised pins and the flat pins. So I'm just going to keep doing it and get the rest of this pin connector lifted and see where we're at. Alright, now that we have refurbished the 72 pin connector, you can't really tell, we're going to go ahead and get started with the reassembly. So the first thing we're going to do is hook up our power and our controller jacks, remembering where second and first player are connected. Now, to reinsert the 72 pin, we're just going to push against the two back ends until it slides in. Alright, now when we're putting this back on, we need to make sure we tilt the board up just slightly so that we can slide the dock all the way back. If you don't lift the board up, you might have issues afterwards. Okay, here we are again. We just finished the battery died, so I wasn't able to shoot all of it, but it goes together just the same way it goes apart. Let's do our test. Insert our cart. There's a fair bit of resistance on the cart connector now, and let's try to see if it starts without actually pushing the cart down. Perfect. Good to go. Yeah, good to go. Reset. Solid. Let's try again. Perfect. Now let's see what we do about getting these controllers apart. Alright, so controllers are pretty easy. You have 6 screws on the back. I already went ahead and removed the screws here. Remove this start select. We'll eventually wipe this down with some isopropyl. We'll take this over to the sink, wash it, and get all this gunk out. Similarly with the buttons, we'll try to remove all the gunk, like from the D-pad. We'll also remove any dirt we have on these. Alright, let's get started. with our isopropyl and our tiny bit of cloth. With a dry cloth. We'll go about cleaning these. Alright, now that our controller is completely dry, we can start reassembling it. You might want to just build it face down. The D-pad you can just put in any which way. And these buttons have these little notches that'll fit into the notches on here. And they'll just slip right in. And they really only go in one way. If you notice, they have these little holes here where they line up. Making sure we loop it just the way it was. Reinsert the backing. Turn her over. Press down. Make sure everything's good. Alright. Well, now we can put it back together. Alright, here we have the controller and the system put back together, and it's fully working. Refurb.